Hi, my name is Teresa Miller, and I'm a Principal Technologist with the Technology Advocacy Group here at Cohesity. Today we're going to talk about two products that you may find very interesting. We're going to talk about CloudArchive as well as CloudArchive Direct. Now, what does that really mean, and what is the issue and the challenge that enterprises are faced with that would require the need for these? Well, many of you have NAS data, and you have a lot of data sitting out there. So of that data, research shows that 60% of those files are actually cold, sitting there doing basically nothing. And so today we're going to take a closer look at how we can help.
My name is Shekhar Himnani. I'm a cloud product manager here at Cohesity. So let's begin with CloudArchive. So what is CloudArchive? You, as Teresa mentioned, you have large NAS data set that is sitting on-prem on expensive NAS appliances. What CloudArchive helps you do is take those large NAS data set and move it to the cloud. It's a policy driven. What that means is you can create a policy and you can decide how frequently you want to move that data. All the data is indexed, so it's easy to search and recover the data. We also provide the granular recovery, so you can in fact search a single file and recover a single file if you wish to. Of course, we support encryption, compression, and dedupe as well. So that gives you a lot of storage reduction. So when the data is moved to the cloud, it's already compressed and deduped so that you're not paying for, let's just say, S3 bucket storage as well. And that is basically the CloudArchive.
So let's take a look at the most common use case that we see customers leveraging this particular feature set for. It's primarily used for long-term retention and compliance. So just about every enterprise has to keep their data for some period of time, and when it goes cold, we absolutely don't want to be putting it on expensive storage, for example, or we may want to put it in another location. So with that, let's take a look at some of the infrastructure here and some of the potential architecture and how that particular use case would play out. So here you can see I have the enterprise NAS. This is where all of your files are. And with the data platform, you're essentially going to create a protection job, and from there, the data will be indexed and we will store all of that metadata. Now, over here I have a cloud. So let me show you a little bit about how this would play out. So essentially, in your use case, you would have your data. You have the option to store it here on-prem, and you have the ability to store it over in the cloud as well. And this gives you the power of deciding, for example, how long you want to keep it here. Let's say that's 30 days. And then if your enterprise decides after that it's cold, you may want to put it out in AWS Azure or GCP. So Shekhar, what happens if an enterprise doesn't want to store anything on-prem like we talked about with the CloudArchive solution?
Perfect. So that's the exact reason we introduced what's called as CloudArchive Direct. With the CloudArchive Direct, the data does not get stored on the on-prem Cohesity platform. We take the NAS data and store it directly in the cloud. So what you see over here, in case of CloudArchive, the data gets stored on the data platform first, and then we move it to AWS or Azure. In case of CloudArchive Direct, we do not store anything. We just move directly store in the cloud. So what that gives you is a low on-prem Cohesity footprint. And another benefit that CloudArchive Direct provides is an ability to move the data in its original format. What that basically does is a user has access to the data, let's just say in S3. So if you move the data in its original format, user can go directly to the S3 bucket and still be able to read the data or download the data directly. What that gives you a great use case, which is basically you can migrate the data, take it from on-prem, keep it in the cloud directly, or if you want to use a third-party application to basically analyze your data, for example, if it's a genome analytics data and you can run third-party application in the cloud, you can collect from multiple locations, keep it in one single bucket, and use data analytics to analyze the data without needing a Cohesity platform. So that is another great use case for the CloudArchive to it.
Excellent. Yeah, sounds very powerful. So from an architecture perspective, then just to highlight how that would look, it's the exact same setup. You're going to have a protection job with a policy that's going to go ahead and move that up to the cloud. So, but in this case, it's actually just only being stored in the cloud. So even though the protection job and policy are here, your data is sitting here. So when it comes to your NAS needs, your long-term retention, your migration and analytics needs, we have both CloudArchive and CloudArchive Direct to support those initiatives for your enterprise.